Let me welcome you again in Austria, Europe. It's so nice to have you here, telling us more about the situation in Ghana, cocoa plantages, situation for the families of cocoa farmers, of the millions of workers on the farms, and the whole situation, how it is in Ghana. We're really interested. For us, it's really important to have people from Ghana here tell us the situation. Because we just, for us it's difficult to understand what's going on. So it's really good to have an authentic, to have people from the field here in Vienna. And my first question would be, can you tell us something and the most important facts about the situation nowadays in Ghana for cocoa farmers and how it probably changed during the last centuries?
Thank you. Yeah. Some time back, cocoa farmers were seen as people of great status in society. That is about 30 years ago when I was a kid. Cocoa farmers were looked upon as people in the society that had wealth, that had good living. Then came the fall in the world cocoa prices. And things started going down, and it's really, really been bad. For ages, cocoa farming or farmers had not received the appropriate income for their work, and we need to take appropriate actions, otherwise the industry will collapse. That is the production of the cocoa bean will collapse. When you take a typical farmer, he works with his family on a piece of land. When you come to Ghana, cocoa farming is done as a family-hold thing, and you don't get big acres of land being cultivated into cocoa farming. The average farm is about 5 acres, 3 to 5 acres. So you get the farmer going to the farm with his wife, maybe probably a second wife, and a few of his household, including the kids. And after all the toil that those farmers go through to produce the bean, the price that the bean is sold is very, very small. In Ghana, we have a system whereby the government have a structure, and at the beginning of the cocoa season, prices are fixed. And all cocoa beans sold in Ghana goes through the government body, Cocoa Marketing Board. Though they are buying agencies, local buying agencies, but you still have to work through the cocoa board. And what we know as cocoa farmers is that the government pays 70% of whatever money he's taking from the world price. The other thing that we have to know too is cocoa is the second income earner to the country. So the government takes particular notice of that. But we as cocoa farmers don't see that 70% because when you look at the areas where cocoa is growing, you don't see much development. You don't have good schools. The roads are really, really bad. Bad road network, no good clinics or health services. So it makes people lose interest in the production of the cocoa bean, especially the youth. You don't get youth going into cocoa production. They will prefer to either come into the urban areas where you get all the developmental projects going on, or do something else. So averagely, the cocoa farmer is about 50 years. So you can imagine if you have an average farmer being 50 years, in the next 10, 15 years, what's going to happen? So I throw it to you, what's going to happen?
That's a good question. That leads to the second question I want to raise and ask for an answer from you, as you know the situation on the fields better than me. But as you mentioned the situation in Europe too, so the chocolate industry, you mentioned something like the chocolate industry also will get in trouble. So can you just make the connection from the chocolate industry in Europe and how they get in trouble, and on the next step, what can be done to improve the situation for the cocoa farmers, for example in Ghana?
We know that the only thing that we use cocoa for, it's either to drink as hot chocolate or chocolate bar, chocolate for eating sweets. And it's the cocoa industry that do that. In Ghana, for instance, you go to the farm and the farmer doesn't know what the bean is used for. There are some farmers who have actually not tasted chocolate before. They don't actually know what chocolate is. All that they know is to produce the beans and then it's shipped. So if the industry don't look at it, at the end of the day, they are going to lose the bean. And then the issue is what happens. So it's a whole chain, because there's a large industry there. There's about 4 or 5 major companies that deal in cocoa. And it's not only Ghana that produces cocoa. Within the West African belt, we have Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Benin, and Nigeria. And those situation is across board. It's not just Ghana that has this peculiar situation. And I even can say that the Ghana situation is better off than Ivory Coast, Nigeria, where the government is not part of the structure. So it's serious for industry as well as consumers. I'll come there because of the fair. And then what can be done? There are so many interventions that we can talk about. Currently, there's certification going on, and we have a number of certification programs. We have Fair Trade, we have UTS, we have Rainforest Alliance, and each certification comes with its own guidelines and issues, as well as a number of NGOs that are helping to build the capacity of the farmer. In general, the situation is farmers lack education. Farm management is one of the major issues that is giving us low productivity. Their income is low, so they can't provide inputs into the farm to make it grow as expected. As I said, they are also getting old. So we need to organize, and then they don't understand organization. So there are programs where NGOs, as I said, the certified bodies are trying to get those farmers together, group them together, take them through capacity building programs, farm management, good practices, sustainable, how to have sustainable yields, like leaving shade trees on your cocoa farm, applying the right fertilizers, wearing the right gear when working, and all those things to help boost production as well as higher income. So there are a number of programs that are going on, but each program is geared towards a certain group of farmers, or it has some ifs and buts. So it's not across board, and not all farmers are interested. Because, for instance, with the certification, you have to pay a fee. You have to license your fee, renew your fee every year. And some farmers think that is a burden. Aside the process of going through certain things, auditors will come. You have to follow certain procedures before you are certified. So the farmers think that is an issue. And as I said, there are different types of certified bodies. So we believe, Africa Cocoa Coalition, we believe that if all those programs, all the certification bodies can be harmonized, maybe they have the same set of guidelines, their aim, because the objective is to get a sustainable cocoa economy. So if they can harmonize whatever steps and procedures they are using, that would be better. As well as look at, if you want to join, the procedure, the fee, the licensing, whether industry can take it up, whether a fund can be set up to build the capacity of farmers, increase their wages, develop the centers that they are in. So a number of things can be done, but then we have to look at it and see which is appropriate, because each certification talks about different things. Fair Trade has a group in Ghana that has doing really, really well, and there's about 65,000 cocoa farmers that had come together. But then when you go down to and interview them, you see that there are people who still think that it's not working right. But then it's so far it's a good example of a group of farmers coming together to join a particular certification. That's Fair Trade. So that is what is being done, and more can be done. And when I say more can be done, is the cost, the actual price of cocoa. We believe that we need to look at the actual price of cocoa. We don't think that farmers are getting fair prices for their cocoa. As I said, though Ghana says it's paying a 70% to farmers, we still think that we need transparency through the chain. And I believe that's the reason why your organization and other organizations have taken upon themselves to do this campaign. The idea is to make the chocolate fun, the consumers also understand the industry and see what is out there. So I, coming from a cocoa farm and knowing what is on the ground, this is the piece I'll add to support the campaign. That consumers should actually tax the industry to make the whole chain transparent.
It's really good. It's just stress what the consumer can do at the end. You know, it's the consumer, it's the industry who wants the money from the consumer.
Yes.
So maybe you can stress again what the consumer, maybe 2-3 steps, things consumers can do to change, to help to improve the situation in Ghana for cocoa farmers.
First of all, what consumers can do now, because there are a number of certified programs going on, it would be good to consume certified or standardized chocolates produced from beans that had fair, a little, I don't know how fair that fair is, but then beans coming from certified bodies where transparency is. That's one thing that consumers can do. And again, pressure industry to look at that. They should get beans from organized groups, or they should make sure that farmers are being treated well. I know industry might say that it's not our issue, but it is. In the long run, it will be. So now that we have the chocolate, we are asking the consumer. Now it's there, but it might not be there in the next how many years to come. And you might not know, you will think that you are eating chocolate, but then you might be eating something else, some chemicals that had been put together. You might not know what the real fact is. So if we don't act now, the industry may die off. That is it. We are not saying anything again. I'm tired.
What is he? I didn't get that. Wait, I just had one last question in mind, but now I lost it. Just let me think. Oh yeah, because you are a representative of the African Cocoa Coalition, but it's only one function. You are one position you are in, but you also have another association you're working with. Maybe you just explain a little bit from the second association you are working for, and what is the aim for it, and why it is needed for such an association to be in place.
Okay, I work more with chairs and environmental biodiversity conservation, and we try to add value to whatever women are doing, especially. And I work purposely with this organic group of cocoa farmers. And one of the things I do is to let the women add more value to the cocoa they are farming. As I said earlier on, all that the farmers do is get the cocoa, process it, the cocoa bean, process it, and it's gone. They don't add any value to it again. But then the women were using the pod, the empty pod, they were using it as soap, which within their small units locally. So what we are trying to do is to bring them together, and they produce the soap on greater quantities, so that we help them to package it so that they can market it and get more income for the family. So example of the soap is this. It's made from the rind of the cocoa. And that's a soap. How do you say soap? You people think it's soup. It's not soup, it's soap.
Soap, yeah.
And you can also make it into the gel, the shower gel. So when it's like this, people in towns and urban cities feel more comfortable to use it than when they used to do it locally and then use it just among themselves. So we do it this way, and then we try looking for markets for them to bring them more income so that they don't depend solely on the cocoa.
It's so amazing what you do, especially to help them to gain their income, even by diversifying the income sources.
Yeah.
Not only producing cocoa beans, but producing soap or shampoo, or even have other crops on their farm to diversify their income, which is rather important with the unstable price. What last point, which is of rather interest to the campaign, to me and our project partner, is that now there are a lot of initiatives from the certifying bodies on one side, but also from the companies themselves, who initiated many programs to boost the harvest, to boost the outcome of cocoa farming. And we observed that they more or less tell the farmers to use chemicals, to use pesticides, to use fertilizers, but we see that there's a lack of trainings. And as your organization is stressing the thing of having a sustainable and ecological farming introduced, or to do the cocoa farming in an ecological and sustainable way, how do you see the initiatives by companies and even by certifying bodies, and how it harms in a way or helps the farmers in the field?
As I explained earlier on, each of these certified bodies has its own aim and objectives. Some are aiming for both environmental and high yield sustainability. Others are just aiming more production, fertilizers, as you explained. But in the short run of it all, what we are advocating for is a farmer that had been educated to know across board the issues of environmental issues, soil fertility, loss of soil fertility. So if you're adding fertilizer, which type of fertilizer and in which quantities that you have to add the fertilizer, and instead of just doing it anyhow and in which form. We are talking about sustainability, because if you do it anyhow and at the end of the day you get the soil depleting or the soil eroding because you want more and you are doing things that are not right, you still kill the industry. So the whole idea is to make sure that you are working and taking care of the environment as well, leaving shade trees on your farm to guard against climate change. These are all issues that we take across. So we take issues across board to educate farmers to really be environmental conscious of what they are doing.
Thanks a lot, Afia. You're such an amazing guest. Maybe one last statement for the people out there, just, I don't know, to motivate them to get engaged in the campaign probably, or what, just that they are more motivated to do something to change the world a little bit, to make it better, not only for the farmers in Ghana, but for a lot of people all over the world. Maybe just the floor is yours. If you want.
As I've said and said over again, please, when you are eating your bar of chocolate, check where it's coming from, and make sure that you let industry understand that we need a cocoa bean to enjoy good quality chocolates. Because if not, we get all those various sicknesses coming into the system. So please make sure that you eat fair chocolate. Enjoy the campaign.